was only 23, a young Mexican influencer whose dream was to inspire others through beauty and confidence. But on May 13, 2025, as she streamed live from her salon in Zapopan, viewers witnessed a tragedy unfold in real time. This is the story of Valeria Márquez, a rising star whose life was cut short and whose death forced a nation to confront the violence women face every day. Born on February 14, 2002 in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, Atsiri Valeria Márquez López grew up surrounded by the vibrant culture and modern energy of her hometown. From a young age, Valeria showed a fascination for fashion, beauty, and presentation. Friends recalled her as someone who carried herself with quiet confidence and a natural sense of style. That early interest gradually evolved into a professional pursuit. At 16, Valeria began her modeling career when she joined the clothing brand Vicio Vanidad. Her involvement with the label marked the beginning of her public life, introducing her to Mexico's growing fashion scene. With each photo shoot, she built a reputation for her poise and distinctive look. In 2021, her talent was recognized when she earned the title of Miss Rostro, a local beauty competition that celebrated facial elegance and presentation. The crown elevated her status, opening new doors for modeling and brand collaborations. Over the following years, Valeria collaborated with several companies, including Golden Deluxe and Beauty Body Level. Her presence extended beyond professional campaigns as she embraced social media as a platform to share her passion. Through TikTok and Instagram, she offered glimpses into her life, from beauty routines and skincare advice to lighthearted everyday moments. Her approachability helped her audience grow rapidly. While success in modeling and digital influence defined her public image, Valeria also pursued education. She initially studied dentistry but later shifted her focus toward cosmetology, aligning her academic path with her personal interests. That transition reflected her ambition to merge beauty expertise with entrepreneurship. In 2024, Valeria realized one of her most cherished dreams, the opening of her own beauty salon, Blossom the Beauty Lounge, located in Zapopan, Jalisco. The salon symbolized her independence and creativity, attracting clients who admired both her work and her story. By early 2025, Valeria had amassed more than 113,000 followers on TikTok and over 70,000 on Instagram. Her online presence represented a blend of charm, authenticity, and professionalism. To many, she embodied the modern Mexican influencer, ambitious, relatable, and driven by passion. At just 23, Valeria Márquez had built a name that resonated with thousands, becoming a symbol of youthful achievement within Mexico's digital and beauty communities. On May 13, 2025, the morning began like any other for 23-year-old Valeria Márquez. Inside her salon, Blossom the Beauty Lounge, located in Zapopan, Jalisco, she prepared to interact with her online audience. Around midday, she went live on TikTok, a platform where thousands tuned in to watch her beauty tutorials and casual chats. The salon's familiar setting, bright lights, mirrors, and beauty products neatly arranged, framed the background as Valeria appeared cheerful and composed. During the live stream, Valeria held a small pink stuffed pig, a toy she had received earlier that day. It was one of several gifts delivered to her salon. Viewers watched as she unboxed a Starbucks drink, admired a bouquet of flowers, and mentioned expecting another surprise. She called it a third expensive gift, smiling briefly but glancing toward the salon door with visible unease. Her friend, who was present off camera, advised her not to step outside, reminding her that one more delivery was still pending. As the minutes passed, Valeria's expression shifted. She began to express mild discomfort, saying she felt creeped out. The chat section filled with concern, with viewers warning her not to share her location. Valeria responded candidly, saying, "Everyone knows this is my salon," a remark that reflected her trust in her followers, but also her growing sense of anxiety. Moments later, the live stream captured an unexpected interruption. A man entered the salon, dressed as a delivery worker, and wearing a mask. He carried a small package, and spoke briefly. His voice could be heard asking, "Are you Valeria?" She nodded, confirming her identity. Then, in a subtle movement, she muted her microphone. The screen continued showing her calm posture, unaware of what was about to happen. Within seconds, the sound of gunshots echoed through the salon. The broadcast continued for a brief moment as chaos unfolded off-screen. Viewers witnessed Valeria clutch her chest and collapse, the pink toy still in her hands. Screams followed, and the phone camera trembled before the live stream abruptly ended. The horrifying sequence lasted less than a minute, but was seen by hundreds in real time. It would soon spread across social media, replayed and shared in disbelief. What began as a regular TikTok session turned into a tragedy that stunned her followers and marked one of the most shocking live stream incidents in recent memory. Continued briefly, before an employee or friend reached the phone and stopped the stream. Those present at the scene reported that the attacker fled the location on a motorcycle. Authorities later noted that 2 men had been observed outside the salon and that they departed the scene after the shooting. Emergency services and investigators arrived at the salon and found Valeria unresponsive. She was pronounced dead at the scene. An autopsy confirmed that gunshot wounds were the cause of death. The Jalisco prosecutor's office opened an investigation under femicide protocols and stated that multiple suspects were being investigated. Officials announced plans to summon friends and family as witnesses as part of the early stages of the probe. President Claudia Sheinbaum issued condolences to Valeria's family and acknowledged the investigation into the killing. Within hours, the incident circulated widely across social media, and national and international news outlets reported on the live-streamed killing. Followers and viewers expressed shock and grief online, while footage and screenshots spread across platforms. Tributes, including flowers and messages, were placed outside the salon in the immediate aftermath. Valeria's TikTok account was closed shortly after the killing, and the live recording was removed or otherwise made inaccessible. The takeover of the phone, the abrupt stop of the live stream by an employee, the presence of a masked delivery man, and the report of 2 men outside form the principal facts documented in the initial timeline. Those elements, captured in the live transmission and in subsequent statements by authorities and witnesses, constituted the primary record of the attack and the immediate response. Authorities continued their inquiry, and the public awaited further details. Following the death of Valeria Márquez, the Jalisco prosecutor's office formally launched an investigation into the killing, treating it as a possible femicide. Authorities began by collecting statements from witnesses, including Valeria's close friends, relatives, and employees who were present at the salon on the day of the attack. Forensic teams secured the premises, gathering ballistic evidence, reviewing nearby surveillance footage, and tracing the route taken by the fleeing suspects. Officials confirmed that more than 1 person was under investigation, though specific names were not publicly released. President Claudia Sheinbaum condemned the attack and called for strengthened efforts to combat gender-based violence across Mexico. Her statement emphasized the need for accountability and support for victims' families. Meanwhile, Zapopan Mayor Juan José Frangi reported that Valeria had not previously filed any official complaints or sought police protection. Authorities indicated that no record existed of her reporting threats or suspicious behavior prior to the incident. Outside the Blossom Beauty Lounge, residents and fans transformed the site into a makeshift memorial. People placed flowers, candles, and handwritten messages honoring Valeria's memory. Within hours, visitors gathered to pay their respects, and local media documented the growing public display of mourning. Online, Valeria's followers shared tributes on TikTok and Instagram, recalling her kindness and passion for beauty. Hashtags bearing her name spread across social networks as users demanded justice and expressed outrage over the rising number of femicides. However, misinformation began circulating almost immediately. False claims appeared on social media, including fabricated stories suggesting that the live stream had been staged or edited. Some accounts speculated about possible links between the crime and organized groups operating in Jalisco. Others posted misleading clips which were later debunked by independent journalists and digital investigators. The Jalisco prosecutor's office urged the public to avoid spreading unverified information while the investigation remained ongoing. National and international media outlets followed the case closely, highlighting the disturbing nature of a crime committed during a live broadcast. commentators pointed to broader concerns about online visibility and personal safety for public figures. The incident reignited conversations about influencer vulnerability and the intersection between fame and risk. Despite the ongoing inquiry, few official details were released beyond initial findings. The lack of clarity fueled speculation, but investigators maintained that the case remained active. For many, Valeria's death symbolized both the power and the peril of social media exposure in a country confronting persistent violence against women. Valeria Márquez's death was not an isolated tragedy, but part of a far wider and deeply rooted crisis in Mexico. Over the past decade, the country has faced an alarming rise in gender-based killings. According to data from the Executive Secretariat of the National Public Security System, more than 10 women are murdered every day, and only a fraction of these cases are formally investigated as femicides. Despite legislative reforms and public campaigns, conviction rates remain strikingly low, reinforcing a sense of impunity. The state of Jalisco, where Valeria lived and worked, has consistently ranked among the regions reporting the highest number of violent crimes against women. Advocacy groups have long warned that systemic failures, including inadequate protection mechanisms, delayed emergency responses, and insufficient victim support, contribute to the cycle of violence. Human rights organizations emphasize that many victims had previously reported threats, stalking, or domestic abuse, but received little to no institutional assistance. In recent years, the Mexican government has enacted several measures intended to combat femicide, including the gender alert mechanism that mandates emergency actions in states with extreme levels of violence against women. However, critics argue that these alerts are often reactive rather than preventive and rarely lead to meaningful policy change. The limited allocation of resources and lack of coordination between federal and local authorities continue to hinder implementation. Social media has amplified awareness and mobilized activism around this issue. Hashtags such as Ni Una Más and Justicia para Valeria have become rallying cries for justice and reform. Grassroots groups organize public marches, digital campaigns, and community workshops to pressure institutions and educate citizens about gender violence. These online movements have also drawn attention from international observers, including the United Nations and Amnesty International, which have repeatedly urged Mexico to strengthen investigations and support services for victims' families. For many Mexicans, Valeria's killing illustrates the intersection of modern visibility and persistent vulnerability. Her role as an influencer made her story resonate across generations, a reminder that even those surrounded by followers and public admiration remain unprotected from societal dangers. The outrage surrounding her death reflects a broader demand for accountability and a cultural shift toward confronting gender-based violence directly. As investigations continue, Valeria's case stands as both a personal tragedy and a national wake-up call in Mexico's ongoing struggle to end femicide. In the aftermath of Valeria Márquez's death, grief and disbelief swept through Zapopan and across Mexico. Outside the Blossom Beauty Lounge, mourners left flowers, candles, and handwritten notes, turning the site into a quiet place of remembrance. Authorities released limited updates, confirming that multiple suspects were under investigation, but withholding names and motives. The Jalisco prosecutor's office stated that forensic work and digital evidence review were ongoing. While progress remained slow, public demand for justice grew louder. Valeria's family requested privacy and urged restraint against spreading false information. Her friends described her as dedicated and kind, a woman who brought confidence to others through her work. On social media, tributes filled platforms under the hashtags Justicia para Valeria and Ni Una Más, reflecting both mourning and protest. Influencers and beauty brands shared her story to highlight the risks faced by women in public and online spaces. Valeria's death reignited national discussions about gender-based violence and the urgent need for systemic protection. Advocacy groups cited her case as a symbol of how visibility can bring both empowerment and danger. Though her life was cut short, Valeria's influence endures. Her name now represents resilience, awareness, and the collective demand for change in a country still confronting violence against women.